Introduce our first speaker, Lynda W.
Yes.
Whichever one you want.
This is good.
This
This is fine.
Good?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. They're gonna record
Thanks,
you.
Coco. Hey, I'm Lynda. I'm an addict. And I just want to start out, and I just want to say welcome to the new people, Claire, and I think your name was Kyle. Welcome. Did I get your name wrong? Oh, well, I can't hear back there. We have disabilities. We get old around here, stick around. You'll have your turn. Anyway, welcome to the people who are new. I'm glad you're here. Congratulations to the people that took clean time, and it's just an honor to be here and be of service, and I can get tripped off in my head. The fact of the matter is, this is a half hour. I have to do this for H&I usually once a month. I've been doing H&I for 23 years. So it's, I've been doing it since I was 6 months clean. So I'm glad to be here. It's not a big deal. And I just, I pray, I just put it out there. My higher power has, and your higher power has, that I just put out what's supposed to be there, I'm going to just, start my story. I won't stay here a long time. I'll move along fast. But I started using when I was 10 years old. I started doing other things before that behavior, even before I even picked up. And with that came some relief. With that came an accelerated sense of use right from the gate. With that, let's not talk about, or shall we talk about, the low self-esteem and the feelings of low self-worth that I had, and the choices I made, with that being my motivator. By the time I was barely 18, I got in a relationship that I was just sex trafficked is what happened. He made me marry him, and he took me to California, and that's what I did for almost 5 years. And, I put up with that, and I dealt with that because I was able to use every day. It was something that I could do. I was with a group of people. I didn't think I'd get out of that lifestyle alive. I don't know to this day, other than the sense of a higher power and some divine intervention, that I was able to get out of there alive. It wasn't without consequences. There were consequences for that, but I did get out, and I was grateful. It didn't stop my use. It didn't stop my behaviors. I met my next Prince Charming just a mere 2 weeks after I got back up here. Don't waste any time. But this one had a job. I thought, well, that was good. Ladies' night and all. He could buy 25-cent beers. And he was amazing. And we stayed together in a very tumultuous domestic violence relationship for 21 years. It was a really long time. I was codependent. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to do anything different. A result of that was, came the kids. I really kind of thought I was ready to settle down in that relationship. And so we had the kids. I was continued using. I had a sense of my use looked like somehow... as long as I could maintain a life, I could use. And so I was pretty successful at that. Well, so I thought. You could ask my kids how successful I was at that. But I managed to work and hustle and stay loaded for a number of years. And, we all know the story of use. I will just, fast forward to the end of my addiction. At this point, I had been loaded pretty much daily for, over 30 years. I will say that there was a lot of attempts at getting clean. There was a lot of attempts at trying to get this program. There were so many times. There was, interventions from my family. I'd go to detox. Intervention from my employer. I would go to detox. I'd go to treatment. There was a string of attempts at trying to get this program. I would come in. I'd go to detox. Frankly, if I made it out of detox, I was kicked out of detox 3 times for using. I had my own get well plan. They just didn't understand. It's really the way I felt about it. And I didn't want to quit, actually, is the honest truth. But I would try, and I would come to these meetings, and I'd see people that had time, and I'd see the spark in your eye, and I'd see the hope, and I'd just like, man, what do you have? How do you get this? I could never really comprehend how these people came to these meetings, stayed clean, and were having what seemed like a really good life. It just, I could not figure it out. And, one thing that was like I didn't do what they did, right? I was coming to meetings. You're supposed to get a sponsor. I didn't get a sponsor. But, I was coming to meetings, and I didn't get phone numbers, and I would come late, I'd leave early. I would try to the best of my ability each and every time to try to do this, but I was not willing to surrender to this. I wasn't willing to stop. I just wanted the consequences to stop. I wanted people off my back, employers off my back. I wanted the consequences to quit. I didn't want to quit using. And in the end, I didn't set the timer for myself. Dang it. I know I have a lot of time left. In the end, this is what it looked like. Through a series of events, a couple years before the end, my house of cards finally fell apart. My children, we were all homeless. My children had to, my oldest had to find his own way, and he went to go live with a friend. The youngest went to go live with my sister, and I stayed out there. The guilt, the shame, the loss, the grief, the hopelessness of this disease just plagued me, and I just didn't think I was ever going to get this. And at the end, what happened was I was living out in a squalor out on a motel out on Sandy Boulevard. I was talking to my son on the phone. He was crying, and he was saying, Mom, I just don't want to read about you in the paper. And I'm crying because I know that I'm such a piece of shit. My life matters nothing to anybody, and there's no way my being OD'd in a motel room or thrown out by some trick into the forest is going to matter to anybody. And I know that that's the end that's coming, and I just didn't know which one it was going to be, but it was going to be one or the other, and I could not do anything to stop it. And about a week after that, I was sitting there doing what I do and looking at this little piece of drug and knowing that this little piece of shit runs every decision I make. I wake up, come 2 a.m, I have a spoon, and in that runs my life. It decides what I do every single day, every single minute of every day. I run and I make sure that stays going. And I know that there's no time off for that. I know and I fully realize There's no holidays. You have to work double on holiday before the holiday hits. There's no time off. There's no day I'm going to sit in this motel room and just watch movies or watch TV or, go get ice cream. There's no day that I'm not going to have to go do what I have to do to stay well every single day. And that's my life. And it was just like, man, my family's not talking to me. I completely disregarded my children. I have no hope. I can't get this thing. There's something wrong with me. There's a loss. There's a sense in my spirit that my end is coming, and I don't know how to do anything different. And I don't know what it was that a weekend came. It was bananas. But it always was. It was like, this isn't a big deal, so we did these things, and so these things happened. And but at the end of that weekend, I just thought, I think I really am going to. I'd actually been, like I said, at this point, I'd been to 10 detoxes. I've been to, 6 treatments at this point, and I didn't know, I'd never been to this one where, you had to show up, you had to come back the next day, maybe the next day. I'd never been there. I had insurance because I had jobs. And TRC didn't cost money. Okay, so there's that. Anyway, I went to this place, and I got up in the morning. The only thing I had when I got there, I showed up with a duffel bag full of dirty clothes, apparatus that was full in my pocket, and I was well. And they took me. They took me the first, I go, oh my God, you're taking me, right? And they took me to the back room, and they were going to start the acupuncture. Sorry about that. They were going to start the acupuncture, and I was like, okay, well, I've got this in my pocket, and okay, I'll just go to the bathroom real quick. We'll just get that taken care of and come back out here. And I don't know what it was, but I was sitting there, and I had heard, somewhere in their spiel, if I got caught going over that threshold with what I had in my pocket, I wasn't going to get in, and I couldn't come back for 30 more days. And I had a voice just as clear as I am right now said, you don't have 30 more days. And I absolutely knew that was the truth. I absolutely knew I did not have 30 more days, that I was at the crossroad, and I was going to have to make a decision, and whatever that decision was, it was the one that was going to count. And I, much to the dismay of everybody in that room, I raised my hand and asked for a sharps container, and put that in the sharps container and said, let's get sick. And they didn't have Suboxone, okay? Just FYI. Good news is alcohol is also one of my drugs of choice, so I get a little bit of Librium with it. Yes! Yeah, that's all we're working with here, folks. That's what I had, but I was just willing. For the first time in my life, I became willing to do whatever it took. For the first time in my life, I really realized, like, this is it. And wherever this takes me, it takes me. And I got up there, and I tossed, and I turned, and I stunk, and I, they don't call it kicking for nothing. Oh, God, I just didn't think it would end. But I knew this was on me. I knew this was on me. I knew I had it coming. I knew I had to do it. And the only way to get through it was to do it. And I just kept, I was like, okay. And, this higher power thing, and it's like, how many times we go, oh, God, get me out of this. It was just like, man, I went to my higher power, and the only words I had was like, God, whatever, if you could just help me think differently. Because every time I think about getting loaded, I can't stop it until I do. And I didn't understand the language in this book. I never heard about this disease in the format that said, what is the disease of addiction? It's obsession and compulsion. I didn't have that language. I never heard that. It's like, that's what happens, right? I think, I can't stop the thinking, and I can't stop it till I go. And then it's on, and I can't, and I understood my powerlessness. At this point, I did understand my powerlessness. I had proved it time and time again. There's, one is too many, 1,000 never know. I had never been able to successfully use. I knew that much. So if you could help me think different, that would be cool. The rest of this is on me. And I was willing to stand in the corner. I didn't care. Whatever he told me to do, I was willing to do it. First time in my life. I figured if I could do this thing, like for real, like y'all did, only then, if after I'm kind of thinking a year in my head, only then could I prove that I was one of those unfortunate people that was incapable of ever getting this program, and that I was never going to get it, and I could go on to the bitter ends just like it says in the literature. I will go on to the bitter ends, but I can't do that in good faith and at least prove to my family that I tried with everything that I had before I left. I tried for real. And so, I just did it. I went into, a program. I can't believe I came up here without a tissue. We have one right. I love that. Everybody, I'm usually at this point, my mascara is running down my face. I did everything that I was asked to do. It did take me a minute to, clean up some behaviors, I really felt, like my sugar daddy should be able to give me money and cigarettes and, shit like that. But I had to go answer to my mentor with that. And it was like, who's that? She asked. And I was like, a friend. We ain't doing nothing. And we weren't, right? We weren't. I did not have to do anything. I had this dialed in like magic. It was just a friend, but I knew my heart of hearts, right? That I shouldn't be doing that. And I knew in my heart of hearts that I didn't want to answer to it, and I didn't want to keep those behaviors up, because I knew if I kept those behaviors up, I was going to get loaded. And if I was doing something I had to lie about or was shady, I was going to get loaded. And so, I kicked in, I let him go. Yeah, that was amazing. I didn't have cigarette money. But I managed, right? It didn't matter. I wanted to stay clean. I did meetings. I did 3 or 4 meetings a day, of course. I asked people for phone numbers, because I was told I had to do that. This wasn't it was on the instruction sheet. I did not just, I want your phone number. Did you want to put that? No, it was part of the instruction. And then I was asked, I did real good. I got some numbers, got phone lists. Oh yeah, did you call anybody? It was like, no. Yeah, and I wanted to lie. I may have lied. I don't know. I don't think I did. I could have. I don't think so, but I wanted to. but I had to follow through, and I had to make those uncomfortable calls. And I'm that girl in a meeting, hi, I got your number off a phone list. It was like, oh my God. It was really uncomfortable. Everything about getting clean was uncomfortable. The way I felt, I didn't feel good. I didn't sleep for over a month. I felt like crap. I'm sensitive. I am not social. I don't want to talk to people. I have to talk to people. I have to do these things. I don't want to. I want to stay clean. I do it anyway. I go through my discomfort. I just keep doing it. I just keep doing things I don't want to do because I realize the things I want to do are going to kill me. So I'm going to do what somebody else tells me I need to do for the first time in my life and try to get a different result for my life because I was tired of the results I had, and I just kept doing it. I kept getting uncomfortable. There was a girl, she was in a meeting. She was, I made it my home group. I was there every night. Oh, cool, okay. God, I better get on with the story, for God's sake. And so, she was there. I asked her, hey, will you be my sponsor? It's like, she'll be my sponsor. I start doing step work. I start getting honest. I realize I have to get honest with this person. I have to do something different. Man, I get done with my treatment program. I go to an Oxford House. I do Oxford House because I'm still in this codependent relationship. And what I know is I haven't learned how to say no yet. I'm trying to back my way slowly out. Don't tip the boat. But hey, I'm doing this over here and slowly work my way out of this situation. I go to Oxford House too, and I stayed there for 2 years till I learned how to say no. This is, let me just tell you, it took me a long time to do this, and I worked my way to this. I worked my way in this program. I got in the middle, right? I was of service when I got here. I continued to be of service, and the deal is at about 3 years clean, I didn't date anybody. Well, okay, after a year I did for about, 1 year. It was a year. And I dated for about, not long. Poquito. Very little. And I was appropriate. Physically, I was inappropriate emotionally and mentally. It worked out really well that didn't work out, and I didn't date again till I was 3 years clean, and I had the chance to have an opportunity to experience a healthy relationship, how to set boundaries, how to be safe, right? I was with somebody that was safe. We used to do activities. He was really active, and what happened, that's really remarkable in this process is when we started going to Canico, which was the camp out that was just last weekend. We go to Canico and, have fun. In that, let me just say this is a family disease. And those children that I left, behind to fend for themselves, I used with my oldest son. I don't remember using with my youngest son, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. But I did definitely use with my oldest son, and he came out to this camp out, and he was still using, but it was just really nice to do something different. And as time went on, right, I'm like 3 years clean, then I'm 4 years clean, and time goes on, and my children got to see something different. They got to see the changes that happened. They got to see that this thing is maybe, it took them years to believe that I might stay clean. And they had every reason to have reservation. And I wasn't trying to prove it to them, right? I was just doing the deal. I was just doing what I had to do. I wasn't going to try to prove it to them. I'm just going to do this. And when I was 6 years clean, my son, we had a little intervention, and my son had an opportunity to also go to detox and to go to a treatment program. And at this point, he has 17 years clean. So we shared the disease. I drug him through domestic violence. I drug him through 2 junkies living in a household, and somehow this program has changed our lives, and we get to recover together. And I think that's a really big deal. And I think he got to see the changes, like I said, in my relationship. I had a couple crazy moments here and there. I'm not even gonna lie, but I was with somebody that was safe, that helped me work my way through those things. There's a lot of trauma in my background. There's a lot of places that need healed. And, the deal is with that, so how do I do that? Through the step work, and it's just like we go through the steps, we do them again. We go through the steps, we do them again. Each time it reveals a new thing. Each time something new comes up. Of course, the first set of steps about all the trauma, all the chaos, all the drugs, all the blah, 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 blah. Then we get down to the next layer, and then it's the next layer. And through that process, right? The quality of my life, the quality of who I am today, the peace that I have, the round of steps I'm just trying to finish up here about really some deep-seated character defects that just were all part of my survival, that I learned as a child. How do I activate and reprogram my thinking and my reaction to life through trauma, and how to do that. I've had outside help with that. There's been, when you talk about all these things I've worked, I've been able to work with a lot of women in this. I've been able to see this process in people's lives. And I've had the dream job, and now I have the dream no job. It's even better. I got to retire and see the world, and with my best friend and the person that showed me that I could do this and believed in me when I could not believe in myself, and kept pushing me and prodding me and showed me what integrity is and how to tell the truth and how to keep showing up no matter what, and how to be uncomfortable and walk through fear, right? And how to find relief from that triangle of self-obsession that we talk about. And and we've been around the world. I've seen so many different things, and now because my friend made really good choices and got a house in Mexico, to be able to spend winter time and be warm in a casita that she also built. What a dream it is. I live the dream, right? I live the dream. I get to show up for people. People showed up for me tonight. I know you're here tonight and coming out in 100-degree weather, right? Thank you for that. The love of this fellowship, the love that I've received, the peace I've received, the quality of life I have, it's better than anything I've ever known, and they talk about it, but man, if you are new, just remember, it just gets better. Go ahead and be uncomfortable. We promise you it gets better. So I think that's probably my time. I'm thinking I'm there. So there you have it. Right? Did I hit it? 2 minutes? Oh, well, okay. Well, let me just tell you how better it gets. I can tell you that. Right? I can tell you that with real clarity. I don't have a problem coming up here and, making and telling you how good it gets. The outings, the fun, the laughter, the joy, the tears, the grief, the sorrow, the losses, being able to walk through real, true life emotions can be done. I've lost, hasn't been some glitter and rainbow. Oh my God, I'm so happy I'm clean every second. There are times of trial and tragedy and life and loss and sorrow so deep you can't find your breath. But that doesn't mean you have to get loaded, right? The answer's still here. Our people are here. I've got a higher power today that's going to help me get through these things. I've got friends. I've got support. I have these rooms to come to. when I talk about it getting better, it's not because, you know, I have this or I have that or it's about that. It's about those things. It's about this quality of life I never knew was possible because all I lived in was, you know, despair, desperation, hope, and now I have hope and life and joy. So I'm done. Thanks.